This is Las Vegas, in the middle of the most expensive building spree it has ever attempted, and almost nobody outside the city understands how staggering it really is. Right now, on a single stretch of Desert Boulevard, a 600-foot guitar is rising into the sky. A few minutes south, a domed baseball stadium is taking shape on the exact ground where one of the most famous casinos in America stood for nearly 70 years. And out along the interstate, crews are clearing a path for a train built to move at 200 miles an hour. Add it all together, every tower, every stadium, every mile of track, and you are looking at close to $30 billion of construction happening at the same time in the same city. That is not a remodel. That is a city tearing down its own history and betting everything it has on what comes next. And the part that should stop you cold is how fast all of it is happening at once. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you are going to see Las Vegas in a way most people never will. If you remember the old strip, the one with the volcano and the showgirls, you are going to want to follow along, because the city you knew is disappearing piece by piece, and I am going to show you exactly what is replacing it. Let me start with the one that hurt the most to watch come down. For 67 years, the Tropicana sat at the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana Avenue. It was one of the original grand casinos of the Strip, a piece of the city from a time when the desert was just beginning to fill with neon. In April of 2024, it closed its doors for the last time. And that October, the whole thing was brought down in a controlled implosion, gone in a matter of seconds after almost 7 decades. What is rising in its place is something this city has never had. The Las Vegas Athletics, Major League Baseball's newest arrival, are building a brand new ballpark on that ground, and it is no ordinary stadium. The price tag has climbed to roughly $2 billion, up from early estimates closer to $1.5 billion. It is designed as a fully domed, climate-controlled ballpark seating around 33,000 people, drawn up by the Danish firm Bjarke Ingels Group, the same kind of architects who design landmarks, not just buildings. To anchor it into the desert, crews drove more than 1,000 support piles into the earth, some of them as deep as 85 feet down. That is nearly the height of a 9-story building, buried underground just to hold the thing up. As of the spring of 2026, the lower bowl is taking shape, and officials say the project is still on time and on budget, aiming to open in time for the 2028 season. But here is the part nobody puts on the postcard. Of that $2 billion cost, roughly $380 million is coming from public money, taxpayer dollars. And that has been the subject of a long and bitter fight. The team's owner left Oakland to come here, and plenty of people have strong feelings about a city handing public funds to a billionaire's baseball team. On time and on budget. Those are two phrases worth saying out loud in this town, because they don't always come true. Whether the people of Las Vegas got a good deal is a question that won't really be answered until the first pitch is thrown. And that brings me to what is being built right next door, because the ballpark is only one piece of a much bigger plan. That same Tropicana site is 35 acres, and the stadium only takes up a slice of it. The rest belongs to a company called Bally's, and they are building an entirely new flagship resort right beside the ballpark, a project carrying a price tag of around $1.25 billion on its own. This is the part that ties it all together. The plan calls for the development to be built in phases, eventually rising into 2 enormous hotel towers, one with roughly 1,800 rooms, another with around 1,200, wrapped around a casino floor of more than 50,000 square feet, with theaters, restaurants, and retail filling in the space between. The chairman of Bally's has called it a once-in-a-generation chance to redefine the very heart of the Strip. Think about what that means for a second. Where one beloved old casino stood, the city is now building a major league ballpark and a brand new mega resort, side by side, on the same ground at the same time. The Tropicana didn't just close, it was replaced by something many times its size. And if you are enjoying this look at how the new Las Vegas is being built, take 1 second right now to subscribe, because the next 2 projects are even bigger, and you're not going to want to miss what is rising on the other end of the Strip. Because a few minutes north, on the site of another legendary casino, something even taller is going up. For 34 years, the Mirage defined the modern Strip. When it opened in 1989, it was the first true mega resort, the place that kicked off 3 decades of building and changed Las Vegas forever. Famous for the volcano out front that erupted into the night. In the summer of 2024, the Mirage closed for good. The volcano was demolished, and in its place, Hard Rock International, owned by the Seminole tribe of Florida, is building one of the strangest and most ambitious hotels in the world. A 42-story tower shaped like a giant guitar, standing somewhere around 660 feet tall, with hundreds of suites inside the body and neck of the instrument. The cost of the whole transformation has been reported at somewhere between $4 and $5 billion. By the spring of 2026, the tower had topped out, reaching its full height over the Strip, with crews installing a skin of blue glass designed to make the entire resort match the guitar. The whole thing is aimed at opening in late 2027. Here is the detail that puts it in perspective. Hard Rock paid MGM Resorts more than $1 billion in cash just for the right to operate the Mirage, before they spent a single dollar building anything new. When Steve Wynn first opened the Mirage back in 1989, it cost around $630 million, and people thought that number was insane. The guitar tower alone is part of a project worth several times that. A 600-foot guitar rising out of the desert is the kind of thing that sounds made up. And yet, there it is, blocking the skyline, visible from across the valley. Some people love it. Some people call it an eyesore. Nobody can ignore it. But as big as that number sounds, it is not even close to the largest bet this city is making. Because the most expensive project of them all isn't a building on the Strip at all. It is a railroad. Brightline West is a high-speed rail line built to connect Las Vegas to Southern California, running 218 miles, mostly down the median of Interstate 15, all the way from a station just south of the Strip to Rancho Cucamonga on the edge of the Los Angeles area. The trains are designed to hit 200 miles an hour, cutting a drive that can take 4 or 5 hours down to roughly 2 hours and 10 minutes. And the cost of that ambition is breathtaking. When the project broke ground in April of 2024, it was estimated at around $12 billion. By late 2025, that estimate had climbed to $21.5 billion, by far the single largest piece of everything we have talked about today. This is the project that pushes the whole transformation of the city toward $30 billion all on its own combined with the rest. But this is also where the honest part of the story comes in. Brightline West has not gone smoothly. The line was originally promised to be running in time for the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. That target has now slipped to late 2029. As of early 2026, the company was still in what it calls the civil construction phase, preparing the corridor along the interstate, with the parking garage at the Las Vegas station taking shape, but still waiting on a $6 billion federal loan it needs to finish the job, while chasing billions more from private lenders at the same time. So here is the open question hanging over the single most expensive thing this city is building. A railroad that would be the first true high-speed line of its kind in America. A genuine piece of the future, but only if the money actually arrives. The trains are not running yet, the track is not laid yet, and the cost has nearly doubled before the first rail is even in place. So step back and look at the whole picture. A $2 billion domed ballpark on the bones of the old Tropicana. A new billion-dollar resort rising beside it. A 600-foot guitar where the Mirage volcano used to erupt. And a $21 billion bullet train aimed at California. All of it happening at once, all of it within a few miles of the same boulevard, adding up to close to $30 billion of construction in a single city at a single moment in time. This is the thing most people miss about Las Vegas. Every generation, this city tears down what made it famous and bets everything on what comes next. And somehow, it keeps working. The volcano is gone. The Tropicana is gone. The Mirage, as you knew it, is gone. And in their place, a guitar, a stadium, a resort, and a train are all racing toward the same finish line. It is the boldest, most expensive reinvention the Strip has ever attempted, and not all of it is guaranteed to succeed. Some of these bets will pay off. Some may not. So here is what I want to know from you. Of everything this city is building, which one do you think will actually change Las Vegas the most? And which one is the bet that finally goes too far?